The show, Invincible Season 3, began in a more intense sequence. Soon after, we are then taken to a flashback where we see a young Cecil stopping two fanatical members of a group called the Order of the Freeing Fist, who intend to release a toxic gas into the town in order to spark a rebellion that will re-establish the natural order of society, or something like that. We discovered that this toxic gas erodes the skin and slowly makes its way into the victim's internal organs, thereby giving one enough time to feel the pain of being freed from their flesh. However, despite getting beaten up like crazy, Cecil tries to keep this gaseous poison from escaping the room until the GDA operatives arrive to take care of the situation. But unfortunately, during this, Cecil's body and face get severely damaged. But luckily for him, the GDA's reconstructive surgery manages to make him whole again. Later on, Cecil is informed by the former director of the GDA that some of the gas drifted into the market before they could get it contained, and sadly, only 17 lives was lost. So because of this, Cecil leaves his now iconic scar on his face as a reminder that he messed up his mission, which led to the loss of innocent lives. So, months later, the flashback took us forward in time, and we see Cecil rescuing Radcliffe from an attack by the Lizard League's Komodo dragon. And just when it seems like Cecil and Radcliffe's fates have been sealed, the resurrected duo of the Order of the Freeing Fist jumps in to successfully save them. Just like what Cecil just did, which Mark doesn't care to like in the previous episode, Cecil is horrified that these two genocidal maniacs have been hired by the GDA. Radcliffe tries to convince Cecil that they are on the path of reformation, but Cecil immediately eliminated them all. Years later, Cecil, who is now sent to GDA's special jail for killing those soups, is soon visited by Radcliffe as he pays Cecil a visit to inform him that he has passed the test by doing the impossible task, and that's why he thinks Cecil is the perfect person to be his successor. Back to the present day, inside the white construct-like room where Cecil is ready to unleash a bunch of reanimans on Mark. Even after explaining all this to Invincible, Mark doesn't seem to get or understand any of this, as he became more aggressive. Quickly, Mark's aggressive attitude leads to a bloody battle between him and the reanimants, which Mark easily eliminated them all easily in a brutal way. Cecil soon realized that Mark isn't going to stop, so immediately he activates a device embedded deep within the superhero's brain, which causes enough discomfort to paralyze him. Mark is shocked by what Cecil has done, but Cecil informed him that he had secretly implanted earpieces into his ear canal, giving the power to control him using the device he built. Just as Mark leaves, Cecil brought him back using the same device. Unfortunately, Mark thinks this is diabolical, even for someone as deceptive as Cecil to put such weapon into his head, while Cecil thinks he is in the right because he is dealing with gods in spandex. Mark eventually flies off to the Guardians' headquarters to alert them about Cecil's activities, but Cecil appears there too, along with his reanimants, and tells the Guardians to stand down because this particular issue concerns only him and Mark. Mark wasn't ready to have any conversation with Cecil, so he activates the device yet again in front of the soups. So, seeing Mark writhing in pain, this causes the Guardians to revolt and attack the reanimants, leading to yet another serious bloody battle. While Robot attempts to block the frequency from Cecil, which was very much successful, as Mark angrily and furiously eliminated all evil soups from Cecil, making him very angry. But just then, Invincible attacked Cecil, while also holding him by the neck to inform him he would never work with or for Cecil any longer, while also threatening to kill him if he ever get close to his family again. Mark got home to inform his mom about the whole situation, which made her really mad, as she trusted him. Oliver goes a little overboard by talking about killing Cecil and getting it over with because he doesn't understand that murdering someone under any circumstances is wrong. But Debbie and Mark make sure that Oliver realizes the gravity of taking a life, and although it's unclear if the boy get this point, making it feel like Oliver is going to be more like his father Nolan. Later on, Mark tries to resume the discussion about the possible romance between him and Eve by letting her know that her alt version's advice isn't the only reason why he wants to date her, and that he has been in love with her for a long time. However, Eve shuts down that conversation for the time being because now she believes having a serious relationship isn't only all about being a high school crush. So, she told Mark to give her time to think about all this. Now back at the Guardians' headquarters, the team to argue as it seems Amanda, Rex, Ray, Rudy, and Bulletproof decide to sever their ties with the GDA, while Immortal, Duplicate, Black Samson, and Shapesmith decide to stay. The next day, Mark goes to visit William and Rick to inform them all about Sinclair's working with Cecil, which shock Rick. Mark is simply with the opinion that he should have killed Sinclair when he had the chance, but Rick told him that if he did that, then he would have become just like Sinclair. Meanwhile, Debbie went on a date with a man named Paul, and they both had a good conversation. Eve continued to further her education. Afterwards, Donald goes to warn Cecil that all of this is not going to end well for the GDA, but Cecil told him that, over the years, he has learned that they need to change with the times and take risk. The scene then cut to a flashback where we see Cecil's on his first meeting with Nolan, who introduced himself and where he came from, while also claiming he was here to protect Earth, and then proceeded to almost destroy everything built on it, thereby proving Cecil's point. Cecil then leaves by saying, they could be the good guys or they be the guys that save the world, but they can't be both. In the mid-credits scene, Eve goes to meet with Mark. Mark from the depths of his heart shared his feelings with her, and just then Eve decides to give love a chance by becoming Mark's girlfriend. I think this is what we the viewers have always wanted. The scene shifted to a scene where we get to witness a sequence without dialogue, which gives we the viewers a look into the lives of a villain named Tether Tyrant and Magmaniac. While robbing a bank, Tether Tyrant sees a kid looking at him with an extremely scared expression on her face, and he begins second-guessing his life choices. Soon after, Bulletproof arrives to take care of the situation. However, after the two survive this attack, the couple decides to start working at a diner and make an honest living. Unfortunately, things don't pan out the way they want, and the pair end up homeless. As a result, they wind up right back where they started from again. They rob that very same bank, but Mark shows up and stops them. A serious fight ensues, and the couple overpowered him. Oliver arrives on the scene as well, knocking one out. Mark isn't happy by the fact Oliver is at the scene. He gets angry at Oliver for not listening to his advice about not doing any superhero stuff until he is older. Once they were home, Mark and Debbie yelled at Oliver for his act, but Mark recognizes Oliver's zeal, and he understands that it's better to harness his abilities properly instead of stunting them. Which Debbie also agrees. At university, Eve enrolls part-time to do architecture, as a way of also honing and controlling her powers. However, she ends up talking to Amber and informing her that Mark and her are now dating. And to Eve's surprise, Amber revealed to her that she knew. Plus, she is also seeing someone. Meanwhile, those who left GDA set up their new base of operations, while an organization known as the Order have issues of their own, especially with the fact Multipole is now captured, plus Mr. Liu is not happy by this. Meanwhile, Mark began to train his little brother how to fly, after which he took Oliver to go get his new costume, who simply wants to be called Kid Omni-Man. Although this moment is sort of ruined by the O on Oliver's chest because it looks exactly like the one Nolan used to wear. R explained to Mark as he believes the O stood for Oliver. The young boy doesn't understand why people will be angry by his choice of costume, but Mark explained to his brother who his dad was before traveling to Thraxis to create history. Mark is also given a new costume, same but with different color. Soon after, they got a report on the jailbreak. Obviously, it was meant to release Multipole. Mark orders Oliver to stay back and watch, but when some of the officers needed help, he vanished to go help out. But unfortunately, Oliver ends up getting hit in the process when he storms in to fight. Invincible, seeing this, then furiously began to fight with Kursk and Furnace. After which, he goes to meet Oliver. Fortunately for him, he is okay. Although Mark is not happy and reprimands his brother, telling him he needs to listen. Nearby, Debbie went on another date with Paul, and the two continued to bond, as she soon revealed to Paul about Nolan's identity and Mark been invincible. But just then, Paul decided to leave as he believes he is just a normal guy, and he can't fly. Debbie held him back as they then kissed for the first time. Eve goes to meet with her parents, and the three try to work things out. However, once Mark and Oliver reach his home, they found out their mom's relationship with Paul, while also seeing them in their costume, although Paul revealed that he knows about them, which Mark doesn't like a bit. Later on, Eve visit Mark to share her good news with her parents. Unknowingly, a drone was at the scene as well. That same evening, Mauler Twins show up at a U.S. military defense site to launch a deadly missile. Unluckily for them, just as they proceeded doing so, the Guardians of the Globe shows up. They intend to launch a nuke and become something worse than a supervillain. Immediately, an extended battle began. Quickly, Mark sees this whole news on TV and decides to head out to help. Meanwhile, the twin defeat the Guardians of the Globe. Mark began to fight with them, but yet again the twin defeat Mark, stating they are more than a villain now as they call themselves businessmen. Oliver, while still at home, saw all this on the news also and decided to go assist his brother. Luckily for Invincible, Oliver arrived at the right time to put a stop at the twin who intend to give the final blow. The pair fight together, but the Mauler Twins launch the nuke at the same time. This leaves Oliver all alone to tackle the twins while Mark stops the nuke out in space. So while Mark was at it, Oliver loses control as he began to fight the twin, but he was eventually slammed on the floor, making him very furious as he kills both Mauler Twins, bathing himself in blood in the process. The Guardians of the Globe gained consciousness and found Oliver at the scene, but Oliver explained to them that he was just trying to help out, which Cecil overheard. Almost immediately, Mark arrived at the scene also and attacked Cecil. It was at this moment Mark saw what his brother has done. Invincible quickly took Oliver to the sky, while also yelling at him. In anger and tears, Oliver storms off, while Mark chases after him. We get to discover that he is quite faster than Mark. Mark apologized to him for yelling at him and tries to instill a sense of morality into his brother. From Oliver's perspective, he stopped the bad guys, but in reality, he's killed people and shrugged it off. He's very much on Nolan's side when it comes to morality, seeing humanity as disposable given they just kill each other. Eve yet again came around to comfort Mark for the incident, although she informed Mark that Oliver is still a kid, and it's obvious he doesn't know how to control his powers. However, Mark speaking to Eve, he also realizes this is what his mom is similarly looking for this sort of connection to. Mark goes to help his mom do the dishes while also apologizing to her about his behavior with Paul. Later, Debbie goes to talk to Oliver and explain to him that human lives are precious, no one deserves to die. Fortunately for Mark, he noticed a spy drone which detonates as soon as he catches it. In the mid-credit scene, we get to find out it was none other than Angstrom Levy behind this. Invincible Season 3 Episode 3 then came to an end. More episode would be uploaded soon. Kindly subscribe to get updated once the remaining episodes drops. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.